You know, some stories don't just tell you about danger, they make you feel it right in your bones. So today, we're going to deconstruct the short story The Jungle Never Forgives and see exactly how it uses some really clever narrative tricks to create that powerful, heart-pounding sense of tension.
The story kicks off with this single, chilling line. And let's be clear, this isn't just about setting the scene, it's a warning. Right from the get-go, the author establishes an atmosphere where the stakes are literally life and death, and there is zero room for error.
And that really brings us to the core question of this whole explainer. I mean, it's one thing to know a character is in peril, but it's something else entirely to feel that anxiety yourself, right? So how does the author pull this off? Well, it all comes down to a few key techniques in how they handle the setting, the characters, and the pacing.
Okay, first things first. We have to understand the main conflict. This isn't just a story about a guy surviving some monster. No, this is about two protagonists, one human, one animal, pitted against the relentless, overwhelming force of nature itself. It's a classic theme, but taken to a truly terrifying extreme.
So let's meet our heroes. On one hand, you've got Rafik. He represents the human element. He's smart, he's strategic, but physically, he's vulnerable. And then you have Bruno, his German shepherd. He's all instinct, all physical power. They aren't just a man and his dog, they're two essential halves of a single survival unit. Now let's see how this partnership actually gets tested. The story, well, it doesn't waste any time at all. The very first attack is designed to do two things: totally shock the reader and show us exactly how Rafik and Bruno work together when the pressure is on. Just look at the word choice here, exploded, not rustled or moved. The author uses this incredibly violent, abrupt language to create a sense of pure shock. The threat doesn't creep in, it just erupts out of nowhere, putting us right there in that moment of absolute terror with Rafik.
This sequence perfectly shows their synergy. I mean, the whole attack happens in a flash. The anaconda lunges. Rafik, with his human reaction time, is caught off guard and he goes down. But Bruno's animal instinct, it's faster. He immediately blocks the first strike. And then you see their roles shift instantly. Bruno goes from defender to rescuer, literally pulling Rafik to safety. It makes it crystal clear. One cannot survive without the other. But here's the thing. The anaconda is just one threat. The story quickly makes it obvious that the real antagonist isn't a single creature. No, it's the entire environment. The jungle itself is the enemy.
The way the author pulls this off is by personifying the jungle. It's a cool technique where the environment seems to have human-like feelings, and in this case, pure malice. It isn't just a place, it's an active, hostile force. The shadows whisper threats. The vines don't just get in the way, they claw at you. Every little part of the environment is framed like it's an intentional attack.
This line right here is absolutely crucial. It's so brilliant because it merges the protagonist's internal feeling, his fear, his pounding heart, with the external threat of the jungle. He isn't just in the jungle anymore, he's becoming part of its terrifying, living rhythm. His fear is literally a reflection of the environment's own menacing heartbeat. So, with the jungle established as this relentless enemy, the story needs to build to a climax. And it finds it at the river, a place that really should represent escape, but is instead twisted into the story's most dangerous trap yet.
This is such a classic and effective narrative move, subverting expectations. The reader, and Rafik, we see the river and we all think, okay, safety. But then, bam, the author yanks that hope away, revealing that the water is just infested with snakes. The one escape route is now the deadliest obstacle they've faced.
And once again, their survival comes down to that perfect synergy. Rafik's desperate dive into the water is a huge risk, but it's the only choice. As a snake lunges for him, Bruno is right there with the interception, buying just a fraction of a second. But you know what? A fraction is all Rafik needs to scramble to the shore. It's this breathless, incredible sequence that just proves their teamwork is the only thing keeping them alive.
So, they survive the river. But this story isn't about a simple victory. This final section is all about driving home a much bleaker and honestly more powerful lesson about what survival in a world like this really means.
This brings us to the story's core idea, what you might call the unforgiving jungle. In this kind of story, nature isn't just a neutral backdrop. It is an active, hostile force, and any victory you have against it is, by its very definition, temporary.
Think about Rafik's first words after escaping that river. It's not a triumphant shout, it's this trembling whisper, "We made it." Barely. That one word, barely,
It just underscores how fragile their success was. It wasn't a clean win, it was a scrape, a near miss, reinforcing that they are always just one tiny slip away from death.
And then, the author hits you with the title line itself as the final thematic statement. Even as some sunlight finally breaks through, Rafik knows the quiet is a lie. The danger hasn't been beaten, it's just waiting. This line just solidifies the whole idea that the jungle's threat is permanent and it's absolute.
Ultimately, this is the haunting takeaway the story leaves you with. In this world, you don't win and then get to rest. You just survive one threat long enough to face the next one. Survival isn't an achievement you unlock, it's a continuous, exhausting process. So all of this leaves us with a final question to chew on. The story presents this overwhelmingly powerful enemy in the jungle, for sure, but it also shows the incredible power of a loyal partnership. So which force really defines our chances? Is it the massive scale of the danger we face, or is it the strength of the one who faces it with us?